Heavy rainfall has struck Hubei province, causing widespread flooding and significant damage across multiple cities. The storm affected several areas including Xiangyang, Yichang, Huanggang, Jingmen and Suzhou. In Xiangyang, water levels on city streets reached over 60 centimeters, effectively paralyzing traffic. In the downtown area, underpasses, shops, and ground floors of residential buildings were submerged. Local authorities reported that over 13,000 people had to be evacuated from low-lying and riverside zones. According to Hubei's Emergency Management Bureau, more than 180 millimeters of precipitation fell within the last 24 hours. In Yichang, the Yangtze River surpassed the critical level by 1.4 meters, prompting officials to open spillway gates to relieve pressure. Floods damaged more than 11,000 hectares of farmland in the Huanggang and Enshi areas. In some villages, water rose high enough to cover fences and lower windows of two-story homes. Schools in Jingmen were temporarily closed, and classes were moved online. Power outages were reported in 87 towns and villages across the province. In Xiangyang, 4 metro stations were shut down due to flooding and the risk of short circuits. Meteorologists forecast continued rain at least through the end of the week. Authorities issued a yellow weather alert, with some counties under an orange warning. Over 600 rescue workers were deployed in Huanggang to assist residents with evacuations and the transport of belongings. More than 1,400 people were relocated overnight to temporary shelters. Social media has been flooded with footage of submerged streets, floating cars, and boats replacing taxis. In Xiangyang, rushing waters eroded sections of Highway G70, causing major traffic jams. Rail service between Yichang and Xi'an was temporarily suspended due to washed-out tracks. Local residents said they hadn't seen rain of this scale in over a decade. According to the Agricultural Department, over 5,000 hectares of rice and cornfields were affected in Suzhou. Reservoirs near Xiangyang reached 93% of their maximum capacity. Fire services in Hubei responded to over 120 calls to pump water from basements and underground garages. Public health authorities increased monitoring of drinking water quality in affected areas. Mobile clinics and pharmacies were set up in Yichang to provide medical care. The Department of Transportation dispatched 80 buses to evacuate residents from flooded neighborhoods. Emergency service call volume in Xiangyang rose by 270% compared to normal levels. Local farmers joined volunteers to build temporary sandbag levees. Approximately 1,900 small and medium-sized businesses were impacted by the floods. Damage to public infrastructure is currently estimated at 210 million yuan. More than 380 kilometers of roads were partially or completely destroyed by the floodwaters. Repair work has begun on power lines in Huanggang and Anxi. In Xiangyang, mobile kitchens have been set up to provide hot meals to displaced families. Volunteers from neighboring provinces arrived to help clear debris. Food supply disruptions were reported in several counties. Five bridges in Jingmen were closed due to structural damage. The Han River, which runs through Xiangyang, remained 78 centimeters above normal levels. Weather stations reported record rainfall of 213 millimeters in the Liaocheng district over a single day. More than 3,200 hectares of forested land in Anxi were at risk of landslides. Floodwaters entered 14 hospitals and clinics, disrupting medical equipment. Helicopters were used to deliver emergency medicine to remote villages. Army engineering units were deployed to assist with rescue and recovery operations. Kindergartens and learning centers in Xiangyang suspended activities indefinitely. City officials launched a hotline for residents to report emergencies and receive information. For the first time in 15 years, water and electricity rationing were simultaneously enacted in the region. Residents were urged not to leave their homes unless absolutely necessary. Private vehicle traffic was banned in several counties. Temporary flood barriers were installed on certain streets in Xiangyang. Public utilities switched to 24/7 operations. Roughly 500 volunteers were assigned to deliver food and water to shelter sites. Public transport in Xiangyang operated on a limited schedule. Air defense units converted their warehouses into humanitarian aid stations. Emergency food reserves were opened to provide supplies to flood-affected families. Senior citizens received door-to-door aid and free meals. Water from private wells was tested every 6 hours for contamination. Engineering teams were dispatched to inspect dams and bridges within a 100 kilometers radius of Xiangyang. In some villages, water reached the window level of second floors. The governor of the province expressed gratitude to everyone contributing to the flood response and recovery.